Hive Mind Network Online, Channel 0093. Secure uplink initiated.
Hello everyone. It's that time again for our dev stream. This week it's going to be just me, Codex. Patrice or Spoonlord is very busy making the game wonderful for you guys. So just me. That's all right though. I'm sure you don't mind. I'm gonna give people a little bit of time to sort of show up, and yes, just me, Palatura. But I do have some cool stuff to tell you about today. Because Patrice hasn't been able to show you any of the new game mechanic window stuff, I got permission to share with you guys more of the long-term planning, a roadmap sort of, not sort of, it's a roadmap for the game. So I'm definitely excited to share that with you guys. Let me just figure out what I am doing here, other than going crazy. All right. So, let me transition this over. Here is our roadmap. And as you'll see, it's only 3 months out. There's a lot of ambitious stuff in there. And I'm gonna go through it all sort of step by step. And you know, this isn't a fancy graphic, very exciting looking, but it's exciting information. So we have plans all the way out to November, and obviously things can be added in or changed in the moment, but we're pretty sure on all of this stuff that is on this screen. So let's take a look at September, all right? September. So the first thing that we're going to do is in September, we're going to have the basic training release, which is the first like handful of academy certifications. So this is more or less the tutorial. And the whole idea is that the newer players will be able to try the academy and be like, wow, this is so great. And they won't be super duper lost because, and like this is what the basic stuff is. So you're looking at, you know, the OS basics, the OSINT, fingerprint, and all that. This is basic terminal operations. I'm pretty sure that this is the basic training that was referred to. Everything you need to sort of play the game as a whole. But we are going to be going into the open beta phase in September. And what we're going to be doing is, like we did with Black Watchmen, is we're going to be using Steam Early Access as a way to do the sort of open beta thing. So people can still join the beta and, you know, be a part of it. Folks who did the Sentry level pre-order or did a Kickstarter backer level that gave them open beta access will have a chance to try out the game before we start dropping, you know, main content, the main plot line sort of stuff. And that's why the Academy basic training being released, you know, around the same time is good, because we're going to have all these new players, and I'm really counting on you guys to be a strong community and be helpful and kind and wonderful like you always are. So let's see. Next, we're doing the Kickstarter security seminar in September. So I've been working on this. I've been working my butt off on this. I still don't have official word that I'm allowed to say who's going to be there. But I do think that you guys will like it. I do have some cool like questions and stuff that are coming in and being planned and all that cool stuff. keep an eye on your inbox if you had the add-on for the seminar, because I'm gonna hopefully be sending out a sort of survey type deal soon to gather questions from you guys for the seminar, and also to let you know how to join for the live Q&A portion in the second half. Additionally, still have the soundtrack contest going on. We're hoping to finish the soundtrack or start working on the soundtrack in September. Just get a lot of it done. I still need submissions of these iconic moments to inspire our composer. You do it, you get acknowledged in the gameplay in the album credits. Really need those. Be a really good thing to have. Alright, so now we're looking at October. And this is the fun stuff, because October has all the new stuff. Balamung, yes, it's going to be visible to everyone and not just specific pre-order packages. The reason for that is basically setting up a private stream is a huge headache. So everyone will be able to watch, but participation is going to be limited to people with those pre-order packages. So folks want to ask questions or, do the live Q&A portion or whatever, that's going to be restricted to the people who had that add-on or pre-order thing. All right, so October. So first things first, the Academy. Let's talk a little bit about the Academy. Originally we said 32, now we're at 20. We've sort of condensed a little bit. We're gonna have 20 certifications to begin with. We're planning to have more in the future, but no word on how many. Fully voice acted, we've got Wheeler and Dylan who are gonna be walking you through, telling you how to Stinger OS. These certifications, they're not going to be required to progress in the game. So you can play the whole game without ever going into the Academy. It's just Faye might ping you and be like, you might want to do this, you might want to learn how to do this. So it's an optional component of the game, but it is a useful component of the game, knowing what you're doing. And for those of you who are super completionists, it might feel good to go through and look at all of the content in the entire game. But again, no pressure. You can do what you want, but 20 certs to start with in October, which is a lot. I know Alex has been working his rear end off getting all of this Academy stuff ready for you guys, and he is awesome. I was talking with him yesterday. He's a good dude. All right. So a little bit of a look at the Academy. This is just a screenshot that I grabbed from Patrice earlier. But you can see it's sort of a similar layout to the Mission Center. And you guys have seen this a little bit when we've done the streams with the actual gameplay in them. So it's a good time. Obviously, Agent Wheeler up there in the corner will have a picture of actually Agent Wheeler and not some guy with a goatee beard thing. But for right now, we're pretending that's Agent Wheeler. All right. So next part. In October, we are going to start releasing the main storyline. It's going to be a similar release to the way we did the Black Watchmen, where content is going to be rolled out progressively over the course of the quote-unquote season. So it's not going to be all playable immediately. This will give us room to adjust content, fix bugs, fix errors, that sort of thing as we go through, and it also allows us to be a little bit flexible with the way that we do things. At the end of this first season, which would be after the second half, which is planned in November, we'll release out of early access, out of the quote-unquote open beta, which would be the full release, and all of the content that was released over the course of these couple of months is going to be available to the newer players, anyone who didn't want to join in during the open beta early access phase. So if you want to play all the way through everything all at once, you'll want to wait for that. Otherwise, you can do the Black Watchmen thing and play along in more or less real time. The next, oh geez, I've got hiccups. The next thing is we've got our first open world campaign. It's planned for October. It's going to be 3 missions. Based on how it goes, we might wind up doing, longer campaigns, shorter campaigns, more frequent, less frequent. This is just a first shot at seeing how this is going to work with the game and with the community. We're not sure if we're going to do them every month. It's entirely possible there won't be a new one every month, because they are pretty interesting. But we're starting with the 3 mission campaign for October. The whole idea is that it's sort of not necessarily filler, but it's sort of like side missions, its own self-contained thing to keep you entertained while we are working on other stuff. So it's not the main plotline storyline. So the open world campaign is like a mini plot line that it's in the same universe. It might require in real life interaction, it might not. This is most likely where you're gonna see the most of the ARG elements in the game, is because these open world campaigns are gonna be, a little bit more tight, I guess you could say. But I haven't had a chance to really look at what we have planned for this first campaign. I'm told it's wonderful. I'm told that it's being worked on and iterated over again, so I wasn't able to look at it when I was going to last week. But 3 missions for the first campaign in October. And depending on how that goes, we might adjust the timing and frequency and spacing of these campaigns in the future, and might adjust, how they're developed and how they are released. I think I'm getting most of the questions. I don't know if Palatura, I don't know if you mean like how many gameplay hours. I honestly can't tell you because I don't know. But it's 3 missions for this first mini plotline side quest campaign. And basically, the best example of the open world campaign that we have previously would be, here I can sort of show you, the Russian Connection secret mission that we did during the alpha, where it was, 3 missions, and there was some real life elements. There was, that Russian Facebook page, there was, I think there was a phone number in that one. I think there was. So anytime that there's going to be real life interaction in a mission or a campaign, we're always going to signal that to you. There's actually a spot for it in the mission center. So you can see, what level of real life interaction is expected for each mission. So if it's something you're not comfortable with, that's fine. You'll probably want to find a way around it. You might be able to do that with the help of other players. That's the great thing about multiplayer. Alright. November. A018 is not the October open world campaign. Oops. I want to go back. Oh geez. Okay. I'm not good at this. I'm just clicking like crazy. So it might make a return in some other way, but it's not the October campaign. The October campaign is something new and exciting, I'm told. However, I haven't actually asked. I'm just sort of I just sort of assumed it was something new because I was told the content was being worked on, and the content for A018 has already been done and finished and released. So hopefully it's something that hasn't already been released being done again. But I could definitely see it being added in as a sort of like side quest, side mission. We don't have a plan to do that right yet, but it was a pretty cool little open world campaign type deal. So I could see us adding it back in. All right, November, because I'm really bad at slideshows. Second half of the main story. So we split the main story in two parts on purpose. I think I actually have a list somewhere, not a list, but like an estimate of how many missions are in the first half. Let me look. Let me look. Oh geez. So part 1 is gonna have 6 missions we're planning on. Part 2 will probably have about the same number of missions. Keeping in mind we have 5 missions in the game right now, but they're all, sort of testing missions. They don't really link together. And I think the main game missions are likely going to be a little bit longer, obviously more difficult in some ways. But yeah, we're breaking it down. Oh. So we also have other exciting things planned for the future, that I didn't want to put specific months or dates on. So that's why I put the 3 question marks there. So after we sort of have things under control, we're going to be working on stuff like multiplayer missions, the raid module, finishing up the Hive Mind servers, getting the faction warfare thing handled. We just really want the main game to be, playable and accessible, before we tackle some of these, honestly, much larger projects. So the main campaign is going to be designed for 1 player. Obviously, you can play it with more than one. We're gonna, in the future, have missions that are designed for multiple players, that require multiple players, hopefully. And the raid module was something that we were really wanting to do. It's just can't always do everything before your first big content release. So aside from that, here's my big thank you. I just wanted to check in with you guys and see, how you're feeling. See if there's any questions I can answer for you. I know that was a lot of information all at once. I am going to try to put a sort of shortened version of this little slideshow up for y'all on the forums. Future updates, resetting the hacked HiveMind servers. So when we rework the HiveMind servers, they are almost definitely going to be reset, because they're going to be totally different when they're finished. Like, we've got big plans, and because of the way that the changes are going to work, they're almost definitely going to wind up reset because it's just a huge change in the back end. It's safer for the data and for our servers to just wipe everything. That being said, once we get the rework done, we can probably keep it from being reset again. So I would look out for one big reset and then, not. And one thing we were also looking at with the multiplayer thing was some sort of server browser. So if you're the sort of person who usually plays solo, you could probably find someone that way. Browse through the rooms, see who's working on what, join in with them. Obviously, that's something in the future. It's not ready yet, not anywhere close to ready, but it'll be easier for people to play co-op that way. No one's allowed to be lonely. We're too cool for that. And we also have, other exciting surprises in the future that I'm not allowed to talk about still, even though it's so exciting. But I'm looking forward to announcing that stuff to y'all eventually, once we're allowed to. I'm not going to be the one to break radio silence on some of those things. Troll door made it. Amazing. Paltera, everyone will know if I broke it. Yeah, it's publicly available on the internet. I'm not allowed to break the rules. But yeah, that's more or less the rundown. Let me go back to the roadmap. So here's the overview roadmap. It's pretty exciting. A lot of cool stuff. And looking forward to sharing this wonderful experience with you all. I'm just sticking around in case anyone else asks a question, because otherwise I'm gonna go back to running around like a chicken with my head cut off, as one does. But I'm thinking we might be good, because I'm not seeing anyone else asking questions, and I waited longer than. Oh god, Paltera has a question. I have to wait to see what it is. Paltera, I'm. Other than the open world mission, will the season missions integrate websites? I'm gonna give that a solid maybe, because I don't know. As I said earlier, I haven't actually had a chance to look at any of the story content that's been developed so far, because I was going to take a look at it the other day and I was asked to give them more time. So perhaps. If I had to guess, I would say, maybe, but not not with a huge amount of integration because we don't want people to try to actually hack real websites. So we'll have to find that balance there for sure. I'm holding on for another question from Mr. Taco. That is not a question. Why are you guys asking about my browser? Like, I'm here to give you wonderful new information. So asking about the open beta end. So I'm fairly certain that the open beta is ending and we're doing a full release after part 2, not after part 1. But that is not something I've verified. I'm gonna say it's most likely how we're gonna do it is that the open beta will end in November. Because the main story, like I said, it's broken into 2 parts, but it's still, one season, so to speak. But it's a good question. I'll definitely follow up on that and make sure that I'm not feeding you bad information. Yeah, exactly. It'll be like a December present. And everyone knows we like to do stuff around winter time. Like we like to do so the studio does like almost like a holiday break usually. And we really enjoy doing like a Christmas present type deal for the players around then. Like we did with Whitechapel. Alright, Pelter, real question. I'm ready for it. If this is a troll question, I'm gonna be real mad at you. So there aren't any plans for procedurally generated missions because that's what you asked about. We like the idea. We don't currently have the manpower hours to do it. So there's not plans, there's hopes, there's dreams, there's wonderful, ideas. We don't have anything that I would consider a plan. Right now it's just like a far-flung future nice to have possibility. Because as a studio, we haven't made something like that before. So it would require learning like a whole bunch of new stuff. And we do love to learn, but I don't know, it might be a little while before. Or we might have to make a new friend that knows a little bit more about that stuff. Who knows? And yes, Nightfall Dungeon was a Christmas thing. It was actually, I think it was a gift from our head developer to Anna Shell's kids. So Palaturo wants to know if there will be a puzzle pieces type system like in Black Watchmen. And I don't know. I think if anything, it might be like super rare pieces of intel, but I haven't heard anything about anything like that. If it were to happen, that's likely what it would look like is, difficult, rare to find intelligence, inventory items. But I don't know. It would be cool. It might be something that gets added in a later update, because we already have our next like 4 updates planned. So Yes, update 5 can be puzzle pieces. Alright, so I'm gonna do one more call for questions. Yeah, hive minds and faction building is going to be wind up in a later update, not in October or September. Uh, might make its way into November, but it really depends. At the very least, don't expect to see it in September or October. But I might be proven wrong. Who knows? And the main reason for that is we have a lot of moving parts that are going into the core of the game, as evidenced by the 20 certifications that will be in the October full Academy release. So that wound up being necessary, but also something that took away time and energy for reworking the hive minds and developing the faction warfare system. So we'd rather have the core game be tight and solid, and then add in the hive minds and faction stuff once we're at that point. So unfortunately, there's only so many developers. If I could clone them, I would. So yeah, in the main storyline, your faction alignment isn't going to be hugely impactful, because in the main storyline you are acting as an agent of NITE Team 4 versus an agent of a specific faction. So it's more like the main storyline is more on like the global geopolitical level versus factions being sort of an underground dark web kind of deal, where it's not quite as overt or publicized agencies. And when I say factions, I mean the player created factions. I don't mean like the NSA and CIA and whatever stuff that we have in there right now um for the reputation system, because that's a whole nother thing. Um, so Taco wants to know if it's gonna have supernatural elements in game like Black Watchmen. So this is sort of a tricky question, because NITE Team 4 is part of the Black Watchmen, which is an agency that does fight, the paranormal, supernatural, whatever. But that said, NITE Team 4 as a unit within the agency doesn't typically have much to do with that side of things. Because on top of, the ghosts and goblins, Black Watchmen is also involved in, more mundane, international affairs and whatever else. So you might wind up seeing a website that belongs to, a coven of witches or whatever, but you won't be hacking ghosts. I hope that makes sense. Like, you're not going to be directly interfacing with the supernatural elements of the universe, but they're sort of part of the background radiation, and they're just part of the universe that you're not necessarily going to have a lot of direct interaction with, but it is, present. And that's just because that's not really their job. It's not 1984's job to deal with that. Alright, so I think, unless something crazy happens all of a sudden, I'm probably going to call the stream for now. As usual, if you have questions, comments, concerns, want to show me a picture of a cute puppy, whatever, you can get to me on Discord. You can also send me a message on the forums, or, I don't know, messenger pigeon, maybe. But until then, thank you guys so much. Thanks for showing up and for being awesome, supportive people, and I will talk to you all again next week. Hopefully by then I will have some new, exciting things to share with you. Who knows? Alright. Bye, y'all.
Closing root access. Goodbye.